guys. So today I wanted to talk about homeschooling and dispelling some homeschool myths that you have probably heard over the years. My favorite one, and I have to start with it because it's the one I get all the time and I find it so utterly ridiculous, is what about socialization? Your kids aren't going to be socialized. Okay, answer me this. Your kids in public school, how socialized do you think they are? They sit in desks in little rows and they have to raise their hand to speak or to pee or to drink. They walk everywhere in single file. How socialized do you think your kids are? The fact that they sit in a room with kids of the same age, not of the same skill level as them, but just because they were born in the same time frame, and they're not allowed to talk to them during class or they get in trouble, and you think your kids are more socialized than my kids. That is just ridiculous. My kids interact with children of all different ages. We go on homeschool field trips. We go to weekly art and PE events. We do Girl Scouts and we have park days, and my kids are friends with children from the age of 5 all the way up to 13-year-olds. They all play beautifully together. My kids are perfectly comfortable speaking to adults, just as they are with speaking to other children. They have zero trouble making friends. They're actually very outgoing, and if there's another kid at the park that they don't know, they walk right up and say, "Hi, my name's Katie, do you want to play?" You know, my kids are plenty socialized. It's so funny to me because we have other families. There's a handful of us that we do a lot of things together, and it's huge age ranges, huge personality differences. My kids are way more socialized than your kids sitting in a classroom not talking all day long. Okay, number 2 is, do you get sick of each other? This is very valid. This is a very good one, because if you are stuck in your house with your kids all the time, think about summer break or Christmas break, especially Christmas break if you don't live here. I live in Florida, it's nice all year long, but if you live somewhere where it's snowy and you have Christmas break and there's like a huge snowstorm and you can't get outside and you're stuck in the house with your kids for 3 or 4 days, you're gonna get sick of your kids. I get sick of my kids, but here's the thing. My school day does not last very long. Our school day, to do all of our subjects, to do math, science, history, language arts, what else do we do? Reading. And then they have math games that they do. They have grammar games that they do. Our entire day, all encompassed, everything that we do in our day takes 3 hours tops. So in the 8 hours your kids are at school, we're doing school for 3 hours. And my kids are at an age now where they are pretty well self-sufficient when it comes to school. They can read the instructions of what they need to do and they can do it. If they need extra help, I'm there to help. If there is an overall concept like fractions or times tables, it doesn't always explain it very well. If you are doing computer work like Time for Learning, or if you're doing workbooks, sometimes you just need to teach. You need to put it on the board. You need to drill with them and things like that. That's fine. Still, our day doesn't take very long. And because we are home, my children have a lot more chores than your kids probably do. And my kids are very good about doing their chores without having to be asked. My kids unload and load the dishwasher. They take out the trash. They do their own laundry. And I don't mean putting it in the washer and moving it to the dryer. My kids sort their clothes. They put it in appropriate sized laundry baskets so it's not overflowing with laundry. They wash their clothes, they dry their clothes, they fold their clothes, they put their clothes away, they hang their clothes. It's not my job. They're 9 and 10 years old. Do your 9 and 10-year-olds do their own laundry? Do your 9 and 10-year-olds help cook dinner and take out the trash and do the kitchen and clean the bathrooms and mop the floors? My kids do all of that stuff. That's one of the perks of being home all the time, is we're not so crazy at the end of the day where they've been in school for 8 hours and I've been at work all day long, and then we have to come home and do another 2 hours of homework and try to get dinner and extracurriculars and everything in there, and I don't know, maybe spend 5 minutes together, and then by the time the kids go to bed and the house is trashed, then you're doing all that by yourself. I don't have to do that, and I love that. Another perk of homeschooling is that we can vacation in the off season, which is really great because Everything is so expensive when everybody else is going. It's also much more crowded. We like to go camping in November because people are gearing up to take time off for Thanksgiving and then Christmas. So they're not taking a lot of time off right there in the middle of November. So we can get things dirt cheap. Cruises or camping or anything we want to do. That sweet spot, November and February, those are great times to do those things because everybody's working and everything is on sale. So we love that. We do lots of field trips with friends. Sometimes we'll all take our schoolwork over to another friend's house and we'll all do our schoolwork together. And it's great because then I have mommy time. And you know, you need grown-up time. That is something that if you don't give yourself that time, if you don't allow yourself to be a grown-up, you're just going to be incredibly stressed. You have to kind of build that into your schedule. So art and PE, that's 2 hours that I get to spend with my moms. And park day, that's more than 2 hours that I get to spend with my moms. And we sit at tables, we try to sit in the shade, and we just vent or chat or dream out loud about vacations we all want to take together. How are you going to get 6 families on a vacation together with everybody's timing? We don't know, but it's fun to plan. So curriculum is not expensive. There are so many different ways you can go. You can go the route where it's $1,200 for each child. That encompasses every subject you're going to need for the entire year, including your planned lesson, and you don't have to do anything but follow the list. That doesn't work for most people. One curriculum doesn't work for most people. And a lot of people I know do different curriculums for different subjects. They'll use Saxton Math, or they'll use history of the world. Is it history of the world or story of the world for their history? And there are people I know who just do lab books or unit studies. And so you would take a book like Charlotte's Web. You would do this for the entire month or couple of weeks, however long it takes you to get through it. So your reading would be Charlotte's Web. Your language arts would be writing essays about different chapters about Charlotte's Web, or doing, depending on what age your child is, doing a big research paper that all encompasses what they learned about Charlotte's Web. And then for science, you would learn about pigs and spiders and rats and geese and all the different things that they learned about in the book of Charlotte's Web. And history, you would learn about farming at the same time that the story took place. You can learn about how animals are processed. If you're a vegetarian or vegan family, that's a great learning opportunity to learn about how good Fern was to save Wilbur from being slaughtered. There are many different ways that you could take this and get all of your subjects in one book, in one unit study. It's very interesting. There are all different ways you can do it. So you can spend gobs of money to go with an all-inclusive. The first year that we homeschooled, we were broke, and I made this decision last minute because we were having a bullying problem and the school board would do nothing about it. They would not even guarantee me the kid wouldn't be in the same class as my child. And it was a little boy who was beating up my daughter every single day. So since they weren't doing anything about it, I pulled my kids from their school. Here in Florida, each school gets $10,000 per student, so they lost $20,000 when I pulled my kids out of the school system and started to homeschool. Unfortunately, you don't get any of that money, and it stinks. I've not found any kind of funding. There may be some out there. If your child is on the autism spectrum, there are scholarships that you can get. But I don't have that, so I don't have any kind of scholarship. The first year, I found things for free online, and I printed things, or I went to the library, and for the cost of a few library fines and some ink for my printer, that's all I spent on my school year that year. And we did great. They did great. You can find absolutely anything online. There's a website, I'll list it below. I can't think of it right now, but a couple times a year, I think twice a year, they do a pay what you want sale. So all of it is things that you will download as PDFs, but they have like reading units for all of the Magic Treehouse books, and I have the entire series of Magic Treehouse books. They have lap book and unit studies for Harry Potter, and then they have different math workbooks and science workbooks and all of these things that you pay what you want, and you download, and I have a file, a homeschool file, just full of PDFs, and I separated it into, math and science and grammar and language art, all the different things. I have a whole thing on US presidents, I have a whole thing on all 50 states, and there's lots of different games. Prodigy is a great game, a great math game. It's fun, kids go into different lands, they battle each other, but to battle, you have to solve math problems. My kids love it, and Katie hates math, and she loves playing Prodigy. Another thing we do is Time for Learning, which is $20 for the first child per month and then $15 for the next child. So I pay $35 a month, and this semester specifically, it has been a lifesaver because I was in my last semester of school, so I had a ton of writing I needed to do. I'm finishing up my bachelor's. So it does history and science, math, language arts, and then language arts extensions, which gets a little further into the concepts that they're learning in language arts. And it's awesome, and its parent area is amazing. I'm going to do a review of it and show you the ins and outs of Time for Learning because I think it's very cool, and it has been well worth my $35 that covers all of that curriculum. It even comes with worksheets. It has a resource area, and it has worksheets that you can print out for the different subjects, and you can look at the worksheets and see if you think it's going to be beneficial, print it. If you don't think it's going to be beneficial, or if it's just a game that you're not interested, don't print it. It's wonderful. Homeschool laws. Each state has different laws. Here in Florida, it's incredibly lax. You have to give them a letter of intent or an LOI. If you ever see LOI, that means letter of intent. That's you writing to the school board of your county saying, I am pulling my child out of public school and will be homeschooling, and you put the date and your child's name and birthday. That's all that's required of a letter of intent. There may be different things that are needed in your state. I believe in the state of New York, you have to provide a full year's lesson plan. Here you don't have to do that. Some states require you to keep attendance. Here you don't have to do that. Here you have to provide a letter of intent and have an evaluation done once a year. The evaluation can either be of your child's schoolwork, so you keep a portfolio of your kids' schoolwork. I am an unorganized mess. I can be very organized with their schedules, but as far as keeping everything in order, nope. So what I do is I have a box for each of them. When they finish work, they throw their stuff in a box. Each month I print out a Time for Learning sheet, a Prodigy sheet, a Spelling City sheet to show what they have done while we were in that month. That goes in the box, and I test them each year. We do the California Achievement Test, the CAT, and you can do it online or you can do it at home with a Scantron. That you buy it, they send it to you, you're renting the booklet really, and you send it all back to them and they send you back your scores. I like to do that because that way I know where my kids are. I know if we're struggling in any particular area. Like last year, they passed all of their spelling tests with flying colors. They did great. They got, A's and B's on all of their spelling tests. You don't have to give your kids letter grades either. They were just 80s, 90s, 100s. I'm in college, so I do math grades. So anything over an 80 and I'm a happy mama. But they both bombed the spelling portion. They just did miserably in the spelling portion. So this year I changed up how we did spelling. So I'll see when I test them how they're doing spelling wise. But the other things, the math and the reading, they did really, really well. And the reading comprehension, they did great in. So that's what I'm most concerned about. Spelling will come with time. And I like that I can tailor what I do to my kids' interests. That's another great thing about homeschooling, especially in the state of Florida, or a state that isn't too stringent on their rules for you, is if we wake up one day, Katie woke up one day and she said, Mom, I want to learn about Easter Island. Okay, so we found some documentaries about Easter Island. While they were watching the documentary, I'm printing out worksheets, and it's really fun. Nat is incredibly good at math, and she loves to read, so I can move her ahead in math without having to hold her into a 4th grade curriculum. I can move her ahead to a 5th grade curriculum. And Katie struggles because she has dyslexia, so we can keep repeating the same things over and over again in different ways, using different, I'll go online and find a worksheet worksheet that says it different. That's a big thing with me, is say it different. And one of those ways it'll click with her, and then we can move on to the next thing. So she's not struggling in a school setting where the teacher doesn't have time to stop and help her. And Natalie's not held back because other students need help and she's bored. So it's great because I can tailor their curriculum to what they need and what is interesting to them. So, okay, if you have any more questions about homeschooling, I'm sure I missed a bunch of things, but leave me your questions down below and I will do another video like this and we will discuss more about homeschooling. And I will catch you guys next time. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, hit that button down below. All right, bye guys.